Maya stepped out of the sleek transport pod and looked at the towering headquarters in front of her. The building gleamed under the morning sun, its mirrored surface reflecting the city around it. From a distance, it looked perfect, like a monument to success. Up close, however, Maya could already sense something was off. The people moving in and out seemed tense, and the air felt heavy with rules and expectations. She took a deep breath, feeling the familiar calm wash over her. Maya had faced challenges before, and she knew that confidence and observation were her strongest tools. The lobby was vast, with walls of glass and polished metal floors that shone under bright lights. Employees hurried past, some with hollow tablets in their hands, others talking into small communication devices. A few looked at Maya as she walked by, curiosity mixed with hesitation in their eyes. She smiled politely but did not stop. Maya's focus was on the task ahead. As she reached the reception desk, a young assistant approached her. "Good morning. The board is not ready yet. They asked you to wait outside," the assistant said politely. She gestured to a set of modern chairs near the entrance. Maya nodded. "Thank you. I'll wait here." She did not complain or show frustration. She understood that the board controlled access, and their hesitation was part of the challenge. Sitting down, she placed her sleek case next to her and began observing. While she waited, Maya noticed the details others might miss. The AI assistant stationed in the lobby moved with a precise rhythm, guiding visitors, answering questions, and monitoring security. Yet something was wrong. The systems were slow to respond to unusual situations. A delivery robot had collided with a wall, and it took the AI several seconds to adjust its path. The cleaning drones missed a small spill near the stairs. These were small mistakes, but in Maya's experience, small mistakes often pointed to larger problems. Maya's eyes shifted to the people around her. Some employees carried stacks of data tablets, rushing to meet deadlines. Others seemed to wander aimlessly, unsure of their purpose. She made mental notes. The company was filled with capable people, but their leadership had failed to direct them efficiently. Minutes passed, and Maya began to think quietly about her plan. She did not panic because waiting was part of her strategy. She tapped a button on her case, activating her personal AI assistant. Its holographic interface appeared above the case, and a calm voice greeted her. "Good morning, Maya. I have access to the building network. Shall we begin reviewing performance data?" "Yes," Maya replied. "Let's see where the inefficiencies are." The AI immediately pulled records from the internal system. Maya watched as charts, graphs, and personnel reports appeared in front of her. She studied the information carefully. Certain executives were responsible for decisions that slowed growth, ignored innovation, and wasted resources. Others had talent but were trapped in bureaucracy. Maya's mind worked quickly, connecting the dots, identifying which areas could be improved first. As she analyzed the data, a young employee carrying a holopad stopped near her. "Excuse me, are you here for the board meeting?" the employee asked nervously. "Yes," Maya replied calmly. "Do you know when they will be ready?" They said. "You need to wait," the employee stammered. "They are very strict about protocol." Maya smiled faintly. "I understand. Thank you for letting me know." She returned her attention to the data, ignoring the whispers of curiosity around her. She did not need their approval yet. What mattered was results, and she knew how to achieve them. While she waited, Maya began sending small instructions to her AI assistant. She wanted to map the corporation's internal network, track workflow inefficiencies, and identify the key players causing delays. Every command was precise, every request calculated. She was not acting impulsively. Her mind was focused on observation and preparation. Suddenly, an alert appeared on her interface. One of the executives had approved a project without proper review, causing a financial discrepancy. Maya noted the name and the consequences of the mistake. She could see a chain reaction forming. One poor decision had affected multiple departments. The board's claim of success was a fragile illusion. Maya knew that addressing these issues quickly would require courage, intelligence, and decisiveness. She leaned back slightly, studying the lobby again. The employees around her were unaware of the invisible threads she had begun pulling. To them, she was just another visitor. To Maya, she was already shaping the future of this corporation. Time passed slowly. Maya's patience was unshakable. She had learned that true leaders never rush. They observe, analyze, and act with precision. Her mind moved faster than the AI around her, spotting patterns, predicting reactions, and calculating outcomes. A few minutes later, a senior staff member approached her. "Ms. Maya, the board will see you now," they said with a hint of nervousness. Maya stood, adjusting her jacket. She felt no fear, only focus. This was the moment to step forward, to move from observation to action. She followed the staff member through the towering glass doors into a room where the board waited. The board members were seated around a long, metallic table. Their expressions were cold, a mixture of authority and skepticism. Maya could feel their judgment, but she did not flinch. Instead, she greeted them calmly. "Good morning," she said clearly. "Thank you for seeing me." They nodded, some politely, some with doubt in their eyes. Maya noticed that their responses were automatic, rehearsed. They were not used to facing someone who observed so carefully, someone who could see beyond the surface. One of the board members spoke. "We asked you to wait outside." "Why are you here now?" Maya smiled lightly. "I was waiting outside, observing and preparing. I wanted to understand the company before speaking. Now I'm ready to discuss what I have learned." The board exchanged uneasy glances. Maya could sense their surprise. They were not used to directness, to clarity, to confidence without arrogance. They had expected hesitation, negotiation, and deference. They did not expect preparation and focus. Maya's mind reviewed the data once more. She had identified the weak points, the inefficiencies, and the areas where human creativity had been blocked by poor leadership. She had a plan to correct these problems, to remove obstacles, and to empower talent. The board members started questioning her, trying to assert control. Maya listened carefully. She answered each question with facts, data, and logic. She did not argue emotionally. She demonstrated knowledge and insight. With every response, the board's confidence in their own authority weakened. They realized that they had underestimated her. Maya could feel the shift in the room. The energy changed from control to uncertainty. She remained calm, letting her presence and competence speak louder than words. Minutes passed, and Maya knew it was time to act. She had observed, analyzed, and prepared. Now it was time to demonstrate the results of her work. She would show that human intelligence, focus, and courage could overcome inefficiency, bureaucracy, and hesitation. The board did not yet know that Maya was about to change everything. She had a plan, precise and unyielding, and she would use it to reshape the company in a way that no AI or outdated hierarchy could prevent. Maya's eyes scanned the room one last time. She was ready. The waiting was over. The moment to act had arrived. Maya stood in the boardroom, her eyes scanning the faces of the executives before her. Each of them sat with a mixture of authority and tension, as if they expected her to falter. She did not. Maya's mind was sharp, like a finely tuned instrument. She had spent years preparing for moments like this, moments where calm observation and careful planning could turn the tide entirely. The board members began speaking, trying to assert control. "We have never worked with someone in your position," said one of the older executives, his voice firm but slightly nervous. "Why should we listen to you?" Maya smiled politely. "Because I have seen the company as it truly is," she said calmly. "I have observed the systems, the teams, and the workflows. I have also reviewed the decisions that have slowed progress. I am here to show solutions, not to follow tradition." A murmur ran through the room. Some executives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Maya could sense their unease, but she remained composed. Her focus was on the data, the facts, and the plan she had crafted in the lobby. "Show us your plan," said another executive, a younger woman who had risen quickly in the ranks but had little experience managing large projects. She sounded confident, but Maya could detect uncertainty in her tone. Maya nodded. She tapped her case, and the holographic display from her AI assistant appeared in the center of the table. Graphs, charts, and organizational diagrams hovered in the air. "These are the areas where inefficiencies have caused delays," Maya explained. "These are the projects that have been mismanaged. And these are the individuals whose decisions have directly led to stagnation." She moved her hand over the holographic display, highlighting sections with precision. Maya's explanations were clear, logical, and backed by data. She did not accuse anyone emotionally or unfairly. She showed evidence. She let the numbers speak for themselves. One of the executives, a man named Roland, frowned. "Are you suggesting we have failed?" he asked. "That we are the reason the company is not thriving?" Maya looked at him calmly. "I am not here to assign blame for the sake of blame," she said. I am here to present facts and solutions. Every decision you have made has had consequences. Some were unavoidable. Others could have been managed better. My goal is to correct those issues and ensure the company thrives. The room was quiet. Maya could feel the weight of her words settling over the executives. She had spoken with authority but without anger or arrogance. That combination made them uncomfortable. They had expected negotiation, hesitation, or submission. They had not expected confidence. While she spoke, Maya's AI assistant quietly scanned the building network. It identified active projects, pending approvals, and hidden bottlenecks. Maya noticed a pattern. A small group of executives had been hoarding resources and delaying approvals, creating an illusion of control while slowing progress. This was the group she had prepared to remove. She made a mental note of the names. In her experience, removing obstacles quickly and decisively was often the most effective way to restore efficiency. Maya paused her explanation and looked around the table. I have a suggestion, she said. We can restructure some departments, promote talented individuals who have been overlooked, and streamline decision-making. We can also correct the projects that have been delayed and ensure every team member contributes fully to the company's success. A young executive named Lena raised an eyebrow. And what about the people responsible for these problems? She asked cautiously. Maya met her gaze directly. They will be held accountable, she said simply. But accountability is not about punishment. It is about ensuring the company can move forward efficiently. Some roles may need to change, and some individuals may not fit the new structure. That is a natural consequence of progress. The board exchanged uneasy glances. Maya had not asked for permission. She had stated facts, presented solutions, and implied action. The executives had no response that could counter the clarity of her plan. Maya's mind worked rapidly. While the board debated internally, she began drafting precise instructions for her AI assistant. Within minutes, she had prepared directives that could execute her restructuring plan. She did not act recklessly. Every step was calculated, every action supported by evidence. As she spoke, she emphasized human creativity and intuition. Artificial intelligence can support us, she said, but human insight drives innovation. This company has relied too heavily on automated systems without empowering its people. We need to balance technology and human decision-making. The executives listened, some nodding slightly, others frowning. Maya sensed resistance, but she was prepared for it. Resistance was natural when power structures were challenged. True leadership, she knew, required patience and clarity. She allowed a few moments of silence to settle over the room. The board members were processing her words. Maya used this time to observe them. Roland's jaw tightened. Lena's eyes flicked nervously to the side. Another executive, a man named Gregor, tapped his fingers anxiously on the table. They were trying to regain control, but Maya's calm presence and the strength of her plan kept them off balance. Maya's AI assistant then displayed an internal report on executive performance. It highlighted delays, financial discrepancies, and failed projects linked to specific individuals. Maya let the holographic images float above the table, giving the board no room to ignore the evidence. These are not opinions, she said firmly. These are measurable results. The company cannot reach its potential with current inefficiencies. Action is required. Roland opened his mouth to argue, but Maya anticipated it. I am not here to debate authority, she said. I am here to ensure results. The company's future depends on it. Her words were calm, but they carried weight. The board realized that Maya was not seeking approval or favor. She was acting with clarity and purpose. That realization made some of them uneasy. They were accustomed to control, but Maya had shifted the balance of power. Maya's eyes shifted to the data one last time. She had identified the people who were obstacles, and she had a plan to address them. She did not act out of anger or revenge. She acted to ensure efficiency, innovation, and progress. Finally, she spoke again. I propose we begin restructuring immediately. Key personnel changes will be made. Projects will be reviewed and adjusted. Teams will be empowered to make decisions within clear guidelines. This is the fastest and most effective way to restore growth. There was a long pause. The board members were silent, processing the clarity and decisiveness of Maya's plan. They had expected hesitation, negotiation, and compromise. Instead, they were faced with someone who had analyzed every detail, anticipated every reaction, and prepared precise actions. Maya stood, her posture calm and confident. She did not raise her voice. She did not demand obedience. She relied on reason, data, and authority earned through preparation and skill. Her AI assistant then quietly prepared the final set of instructions for implementation. Maya reviewed them carefully. Within minutes, her directives could be sent to the internal systems, ensuring that the restructuring plan would begin immediately once approved. She turned her gaze back to the board. "The next step is action," she said simply. "Decisions cannot wait. The company's potential cannot wait. We must act now." The board members looked at one another. Maya could sense their hesitation, their fear, and their growing respect. They realized that this was not just another executive proposal. This was a plan backed by preparation, evidence, and decisive leadership. Maya waited patiently, letting them respond. She knew that time was on her side. Her calm focus, her clear vision, and her ability to anticipate reactions gave her the advantage. The board had power, but she had precision. Minutes passed. Finally, one of the executives spoke. "We will consider your proposal," he said cautiously. Maya nodded. "Consideration is not enough," she replied gently. "The company requires action. Delay will only worsen the problems." The room was quiet again. Maya's words hung in the air like a challenge and an opportunity at the same time. She could see the shift in the board members' attitudes. Some were realizing that resistance would only harm the company. Some were beginning to understand the value of decisive action. Maya's mind, however, had already moved beyond words. She had prepared the precise next steps. When the moment came, she would act, and the company would change forever. Her patience had not been passive. It had been strategic. She could feel the energy in the room change. Authority had been challenged, but with reason and clarity, not conflict. Maya was ready to take the next step, to implement her plan, and to demonstrate that human insight and courage could achieve what hesitation and bureaucracy could not. Maya remained calm, poised, and ready. The board did not yet know how far she would go to ensure the company's success. The quiet strategy had begun, and the company's future was about to shift in a way that no one could ignore. Maya had waited patiently, observing the board and understanding the subtle dynamics between them. She knew that hesitation was their greatest ally, but she also knew that action was the only way to bring real change. Every moment spent delaying decisions cost the company valuable time, resources, and innovation. She had prepared carefully, and now it was time to act. The boardroom was quiet, the tension almost tangible. Some executives fidgeted with pens, others glanced nervously at their hollow screens. Maya's calm presence seemed to fill the room. She took a deep breath, letting her confidence show without arrogance. "I have reviewed all current projects," she began, her voice steady and clear. "I have also analyzed the performance of each executive and department. The results are conclusive. The company cannot achieve its potential under the current structure. Action is required immediately." One executive, Roland, leaned back in his chair. "Action? What kind of action are you suggesting?" His tone was skeptical, but a hint of uncertainty crept in. Maya did not hesitate. "Restructuring. Certain roles will change. Some positions will be eliminated. Decisions that have slowed progress will be corrected. Key talented individuals will be promoted. The company must function efficiently, and that requires accountability." A murmur ran through the room. The word eliminated made some uneasy. Maya had chosen her words carefully. She was not speaking emotionally, but directly about efficiency and results. Gregor, another board member, spoke up. "You mean firing people? That is extreme. We cannot just remove executives." Maya looked at him calmly. "It is not extreme. It is necessary. The data shows which decisions have caused the most delays and losses. To correct these mistakes and allow the company to grow, action must be taken immediately." The board exchanged uneasy glances. Maya could feel their resistance, but she remained composed. She had anticipated this reaction. Most leaders relied on hierarchy and tradition to maintain control. Maya relied on preparation and clarity. She activated her AI assistant again, projecting a clear chart above the table. It displayed projects, financial results, and executive decisions over the past 2 years. Lines connected decisions to consequences, showing inefficiencies and stagnation. "These are measurable results," Maya explained. "They cannot be ignored. The company's future depends on addressing these issues now." Roland frowned, staring at the chart. "And you are saying this is caused by specific people?" Maya nodded. Yes, not all executives are at fault. Some are talented but constrained by ineffective leadership. Others have made repeated decisions that have hindered progress. To move forward, these issues must be corrected. She paused, letting her words sink in. The room was quiet. Maya's calm, authoritative approach had disarmed the board. They expected negotiation, perhaps even hesitation. They did not expect clarity backed by precise evidence. Consider the alternative, Maya continued. If we delay action, these inefficiencies will continue. Projects will stall, resources will be wasted, and the company's growth will remain limited. My goal is not to punish anyone, but to ensure that every individual contributes effectively to the success of the company. Lena, the younger executive, shifted nervously. You make a strong case, but removing executives is drastic. Are you certain this is necessary? Maya's gaze was unwavering. I am certain. I have analyzed every outcome. This is the fastest and most effective way to restore progress. Delay will only make the situation worse. She could see hesitation in some board members. They wanted to argue, but Maya's calm authority left them uncertain. Her strategy was clear. Act decisively, but remain composed. Hesitation would only give the boardroom to resist. Confidence and preparation were her strongest tools. Maya reached into her case and pulled out a small device. It connected to the internal system, ready to send directives. She did not act yet. The timing had to be perfect. She first needed to ensure that the board understood the reasoning behind her plan. She wanted no confusion, no room for argument based on emotion or power alone. The company relies on human talent and judgment, she said. Technology can assist, but it cannot replace human insight. The current leadership has allowed inefficiencies to persist because decisions are delayed and authority is misused. My plan corrects this by ensuring accountability and promoting talent. Roland cleared his throat. And if we disagree with your assessment? What then? Maya smiled faintly. We do not need disagreement. We have evidence. Decisions are based on facts, not opinion. The data is clear. The company must act to move forward. Her AI assistant projected a timeline showing the potential growth if the restructuring were implemented. Graphs rose steadily, projecting profits, innovation outputs, and improved workflow. The difference between action and inaction was undeniable. Maya let the chart float silently, letting the board see the consequences of their hesitation. The tension in the room grew. The executives had a choice: resist and risk stagnation, or follow clear evidence and allow the company to thrive. Maya had placed the decision firmly in their hands, but her calm authority made resistance difficult. I will not act without clarity, she said. The board must understand the reasons, see the evidence, and then approve the actions. This is not about power. It is about results. Roland leaned forward. And the people you intend to remove, will they be allowed to respond? Maya's voice remained steady. The data is conclusive. These individuals have made repeated decisions that slowed progress. There is no alternative that will produce the results the company needs. They will be informed professionally, and the transition will be handled with respect and clarity. The room was silent again. Maya's words were direct, firm, and yet devoid of anger or personal attack. She relied on evidence, logic, and authority earned through preparation. The board members began to realize that arguing would not change the facts. Maya's AI assistant then projected profiles of key executives whose decisions had caused repeated delays. Charts displayed project outcomes, financial results, and team performance linked directly to each individual. Maya spoke calmly, pointing to each profile. These are measurable results. Each decision has consequences. The company cannot continue with inefficiencies of this magnitude. Gregor shifted uncomfortably. And you would remove them immediately? Yes, Maya replied. Immediate action ensures minimal disruption and maximum efficiency. Delay would only compound problems. The room grew quieter. The board members exchanged looks, weighing the clarity and precision of Maya's words. She had removed emotion from the discussion, leaving only logic, evidence, and the undeniable truth of the situation. Maya then leaned slightly forward. I have prepared precise directives to implement these changes. Once approved, the restructuring can begin within minutes. Every team will know their role, and every project will proceed efficiently. The company will move forward as a unified, capable organization. Lena swallowed nervously. It is bold, she said. But I see the reasoning, Maya nodded. Boldness is required when progress is stalled. Hesitation will only continue the inefficiencies. Roland exhaled slowly, realizing that Maya had presented an unshakable case. Resistance was possible, but it would require rejecting evidence, logic, and measurable results. He could see the confidence and calm authority that Maya exuded. She was not bluffing, not arguing from emotion. She had prepared every step, anticipated reactions, and had a clear plan. Maya paused, letting the weight of her words and the visual evidence sink in. The board could see the consequences clearly now: continued stagnation or decisive action. She had made the choice clear without forcing it, yet she remained in full control of the situation. Finally, Roland spoke again. "We will approve the plan," he said cautiously. Maya nodded. "Approval is not enough. Action is required. I will ensure the directives are executed efficiently. The company's growth depends on it." She activated her AI assistant, sending precise instructions to the internal system. Within moments, the directives were ready to implement. Maya had anticipated every obstacle and accounted for every reaction. The board members watched in silent awe as the plan unfolded before them. Maya's calm authority, combined with evidence and preparation, had transformed hesitation into acceptance. She had not demanded obedience. She had shown clarity, precision, and leadership. The company's future was now aligned with efficiency, talent, and progress. As she stood in the boardroom, Maya felt a quiet satisfaction. The confrontation had not been about power or conflict. It had been about demonstrating that human insight, preparation, and decisive action could overcome stagnation. The board had witnessed the truth. Progress required courage, clarity, and intelligence. Maya's quiet strategy had worked. The board had acknowledged the necessity of action. The next step, executing the plan fully, was about to begin. The company was on the brink of transformation, and Maya had led the way with confidence, focus, and unwavering clarity. The confrontation was over, but the real change was only beginning. Maya was ready to move forward, to implement the restructuring and to show that human leadership, intelligence, and decisiveness could shape a brighter future. The boardroom was quiet after the confrontation. Maya stood calmly, watching the executives absorb the reality of the changes. The previous hesitation had vanished, replaced with a cautious awareness of her competence. She had made it clear that stagnation was no longer acceptable, and now the next step was to rebuild the company into a place where talent, innovation, and efficiency could flourish. Maya began by addressing the executives who would remain. She spoke directly, without hostility or anger. "We will focus on empowerment, collaboration, and clarity. Every department will have clear responsibilities, every project a timeline, and every team member a voice. Inefficiency will no longer be tolerated, but talent and dedication will be recognized and rewarded." Some executives nodded, understanding the necessity of her plan. Others hesitated, uncertain how they would fit into the new structure. Maya's eyes met each of them in turn. Her calm presence conveyed trust and expectation. She did not need to threaten. Her confidence was enough to encourage cooperation. The first task was personnel restructuring. Maya had already identified individuals whose decisions had repeatedly caused delays or stagnation. She instructed her AI assistant to prepare professional notices for those who would be leaving the company. Each message was factual, respectful, and clear. It emphasized that the goal was not punishment but progress, and that the company's growth depended on removing obstacles efficiently. Employees who were being promoted received clear communication of their new responsibilities. Maya personally met with them, explaining the changes and emphasizing the trust placed in their abilities. "You have talent, insight, and dedication," she said. "These qualities will drive the company forward. Your teams will follow your leadership, and you will have the authority to make decisions that matter." The promoted employees felt a mix of pride and excitement. They had been overlooked for years, restrained by bureaucracy and poor leadership. Maya's confidence in them inspired motivation. Teams began to work more cohesively, communication improved, and projects that had been delayed for months suddenly gained momentum. Meanwhile, Maya turned her attention to workflows and technology integration. The company had relied heavily on automated systems, but the human element had been neglected. Maya analyzed the AI tools in use, identifying gaps, errors, and opportunities for optimization. She created a balance between human insight and AI efficiency. Human decision-making would guide critical projects while AI handled routine tasks and analysis. The result was immediate. Departments once slowed by approval delays now had clear instructions, timelines, and responsibilities. Employees were no longer waiting for unclear guidance. They knew what needed to be done and how to do it. Morale improved and productivity soared. Maya also emphasized transparency. Teams had access to relevant data, progress updates, and project goals. Employees felt empowered to make decisions within their authority, knowing that their contributions were recognized and valued. The culture of fear and hesitation had vanished, replaced with collaboration and accountability. One afternoon, Maya walked through the main operations floor. She observed engineers adjusting systems, analysts reviewing data, and project managers coordinating with their teams. The pace was steady, efficient, and purposeful. Employees glanced at her, some smiling, some focused on their work. There was no chaos, no confusion, only controlled energy directed toward progress. A junior engineer approached Maya. "Ms. Maya, the new workflow system you implemented has reduced our response time by 20%. Teams are completing tasks faster and more accurately." Maya smiled. "Good. This is the result of clear roles and collaboration. Keep monitoring performance and don't hesitate to suggest improvements." The engineer nodded, energized by the encouragement. Maya understood that leadership was not only about making decisions, but also about inspiring others to do their best. Talent flourished when nurtured, and she intended to create an environment where human creativity and insight could thrive. Maya also focused on innovation. She encouraged teams to propose new ideas, experiment with approaches, and take calculated risks. Employees who had previously been discouraged from thinking creatively now had space to innovate. The company began developing projects that were not only efficient, but also imaginative and forward-looking. One of the promoted executives, Lena, came to Maya with a project proposal. "Ms. Maya, I believe we can develop a new energy system that reduces costs and improves efficiency across departments. It will require collaboration from multiple teams, but I think it is feasible." Maya listened carefully, reviewing the proposal. "This is excellent. Assemble the team, outline a clear timeline, and provide regular updates. You have full authority to lead this project." Lena left, motivated and confident. Maya smiled, knowing that empowering others created momentum far greater than any single individual could achieve. The company was no longer limited by outdated leadership or inefficient practices. It was being guided by clarity, talent, and human ingenuity. Over the next few weeks, the transformation became evident. Projects that had been stagnant for months progressed rapidly. Communication between departments improved, and employees began collaborating in ways that had been impossible under the previous hierarchy. The company was thriving under Maya's leadership, proving that decisive action and empowerment were more effective than rigid tradition. Even the AI systems responded to the changes. With clearer instructions and better integration, they became efficient tools supporting human decision-making rather than replacements for it. Employees used AI to gather information, analyze patterns, and predict outcomes, but critical decisions were guided by human judgment. This balance created a synergy between technology and humanity that was powerful and sustainable. Maya also held regular meetings with teams to ensure transparency and alignment. She encouraged questions, suggestions, and feedback. Employees felt their voices mattered, and their contributions were recognized. This culture of inclusion fostered loyalty, motivation, and collaboration. One afternoon, Roland approached Maya quietly. "I must admit I did not expect such results. The changes you implemented have energized the company. Productivity is up, morale is up, and teams are working together effectively." Maya nodded. "It is not about my expectations. It is about creating an environment where talent can thrive. When humans are empowered and supported by technology, we achieve results that no system alone could produce." Gregor, who had been skeptical earlier, added, "I can see the difference. The company is moving faster, and employees are more confident in their work. The old ways clearly limited potential." Maya smiled. "The key is clarity, communication, and accountability. When everyone understands their role and has the tools to succeed, the company grows naturally. Innovation comes from human insight, not just automated processes. Weeks turned into months, and the results were undeniable. The company had transformed from stagnation to progress, from inefficiency to a system of coordinated excellence. Maya's leadership style, balancing human creativity with technology, had created an environment where employees felt valued, capable, and motivated. Even clients and partners noticed the change. Projects were delivered faster, quality improved, and new solutions were developed that had previously been considered impossible. The company's reputation grew, attracting talent and investment from across the sector. Maya walked through the office one evening, observing the teams at work. Engineers were refining designs, analysts were reviewing projections, and project managers coordinated with confidence. She saw employees collaborating naturally, solving problems efficiently, and innovating without hesitation. She felt a quiet satisfaction. The confrontation with the board had been only the beginning. The real work, rebuilding, empowering, and inspiring, was now complete. The company was thriving under her guidance, and human talent was at the center of every success. Maya paused near a window, looking out at the city. The reflection of the building shimmered in the glass, but inside, the real transformation was happening. Humans were thriving, empowered to think, create, and innovate. Maya had proven that leadership, preparation, and clarity could achieve what hesitation and tradition could not. Her work was far from finished, but the foundation was set. The company had been rebuilt on trust, transparency, and talent. Innovation and efficiency were no longer limited by bureaucracy or outdated authority. Maya had created a culture where human potential could flourish alongside technology. The employees had begun to understand what true leadership meant. It was not about control or fear. It was about clarity, trust, and empowerment. Under Maya's guidance, they had discovered that their abilities were valued and that their contributions directly shaped the company's success. As she walked back to her office, Maya felt a sense of accomplishment. The restructuring had worked. The teams were thriving. Projects were progressing. The company had transformed into a place where human insight and technology worked together in harmony. She knew challenges would arise, as they always did in a growing company. But with clear strategy, decisive action, and empowered teams, she was confident that the company could overcome any obstacle. Human potential, when trusted and supported, could achieve extraordinary results. Months had passed since Maya had confronted the board and begun the transformation of the company. The once stagnant organization now moved with purpose, energy, and clarity. Every department operated efficiently, projects progressed steadily, and employees worked together with confidence. Maya could feel the energy shift throughout the company. Human potential was thriving alongside technology, and the results were undeniable. Maya began her day in the main operations hall, walking among the teams. Engineers adjusted advanced systems with precision, analysts reviewed data for improvements, and project managers coordinated seamlessly. Employees greeted her with smiles and nods, a reflection of the respect and trust she had earned. This was not fear or obligation. It was recognition of leadership and competence. She stopped to speak with Lena, the executive she had promoted earlier. "How is the energy project coming along?" Maya asked. Lena's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. "It is going better than we expected. The teams are collaborating naturally, and we have already implemented several improvements that will reduce costs and improve efficiency. Your guidance has given us confidence to try new approaches." Maya smiled. "That is exactly what I hoped for. Trust your teams, rely on your judgment, and use technology as a tool, not a replacement. Human insight is the key to innovation." Lena nodded, understanding the weight of the responsibility. Maya's words had empowered her to think creatively and act decisively. This empowerment was spreading across the company, creating a culture where talent could flourish. In her office, Maya reviewed the latest reports. Productivity had increased by 30%, project completion times had dropped significantly, and employee satisfaction was at an all-time high. Investors and partners had noticed the change as well. The company's reputation had grown rapidly, attracting interest from new markets and industries. A message arrived from a client praising the company's recent performance. Maya read it carefully and shared it with her team. "This is proof that clear leadership, collaboration, and accountability create results," she said. "Our efforts are being recognized outside these walls, And that recognition will continue to grow if we maintain our focus. Maya then called a meeting with her senior executives. The room was filled with energy and anticipation. She knew that to maintain momentum, communication and alignment were crucial. "Everyone," she began, "we have come a long way in a short time. We have removed obstacles, empowered talent, and implemented systems that allow human insight to guide our progress. But this is only the beginning. True leadership means continuing to challenge ourselves and improve every day." Roland, who had once questioned her methods, spoke first. "Maya, I must admit I was skeptical at first, but the results speak for themselves. The company is thriving and the teams are engaged. Your approach has shown us the power of decisive action combined with trust in human talent." Maya nodded. "Thank you. That acknowledgement is important. We must continue to lead with clarity, balance technology with human creativity, and ensure that every person feels empowered to contribute fully." She turned to Lena. "Your project on energy efficiency is an excellent example of what can be achieved when teams are trusted and guided. Share your process with other departments so that similar approaches can be applied throughout the company." Lena nodded enthusiastically. "We will do that. The teams are excited to collaborate and innovate." Maya smiled. She could see the culture of trust and collaboration taking root. Employees were no longer limited by outdated structures or fear of failure. Instead, they were motivated to think creatively, act decisively, and achieve results that were once thought impossible. Later that afternoon, Maya visited the research and development floor. Scientists and engineers were experimenting with new technologies, testing prototypes, and collaborating on solutions to long-standing challenges. The energy in the room was electric. Creativity flowed freely, and employees were engaged in meaningful work. A young engineer approached Maya. "Ms. Maya, the new collaborative system you implemented has allowed us to complete experiments faster and with fewer errors. We are seeing results that were not possible before." Maya nodded. "Excellent. That is exactly the outcome we hoped for. Continue to observe, improve, and share your findings. Human insight combined with technology produces results far beyond what either could achieve alone." She walked further through the floor, observing teams working together. She saw employees suggesting improvements to each other, offering guidance and solving problems efficiently. This was the transformation she had envisioned. The company was no longer restricted by fear, hesitation, or inefficiency. Human talent was leading innovation, supported by technology rather than replaced by it. As the day progressed, Maya reviewed the financial projections. The company had exceeded expectations with growth far above previous years. New clients were signing contracts, investors were impressed, and employee morale had reached record levels. Maya allowed herself a quiet moment of satisfaction. The confrontation, the restructuring, and the rebuilding had all worked. The company was thriving. Maya called a meeting with the board members who had remained. This meeting was not about authority, but about alignment and vision. She shared the results, the progress, and the new opportunities on the horizon. "The company has transformed because we acted decisively, empowered talent, and balanced technology with human judgment," Maya said. "The results are clear. Productivity is up, innovation is flourishing, and employees are motivated. This is only the beginning. Our future depends on maintaining this momentum and continuing to trust in human insight." The board members nodded, some with admiration, others with acknowledgement of her leadership. They had seen the results firsthand, and it was undeniable. Maya's approach had proven that decisive action, clarity, and empowerment could achieve extraordinary outcomes. As the meeting ended, Maya took a moment to reflect. She had faced skepticism, resistance, and hesitation, yet through preparation, patience, and decisive action, she had transformed the company. She had removed obstacles, promoted talent, and created a culture where human creativity and technology worked in harmony. Her attention then turned to the teams across the company. Employees who had once felt limited now thrived. Project managers coordinated effectively, engineers solved problems efficiently, and analysts provided insights that guided decision-making. The company was no longer constrained by inefficiency or fear. It was a place where human potential flourished. Maya smiled as she walked through the corridors. She saw collaboration, innovation, and dedication everywhere she looked. The culture she had created was now self-sustaining. Employees felt ownership of their work, inspired to contribute and improve continuously. One evening, as Maya looked out over the city from her office, she reflected on the journey. The confrontation with the board had been only the first step. The real challenge was rebuilding, empowering, and inspiring teams. She had done all of that and more. The company was no longer defined by its past failures but by its current successes and future potential. Maya knew that challenges would continue to arise. Markets would change, technology would evolve, and new problems would emerge. But she was confident that the company was now prepared. Human talent, when trusted, empowered, and guided, could overcome any obstacle. The foundation she had built was strong, sustainable, and capable of facing the future. Employees continued to innovate, finding solutions to problems that had once seemed insurmountable. Maya encouraged experimentation and learning, ensuring that failure was seen as an opportunity to grow rather than a cause for fear. The company culture had shifted completely. Empowerment and accountability were now the driving forces. Maya's leadership had created a ripple effect. Teams worked with purpose, innovation accelerated, and the company gained recognition across the sector. Investors praised the results, clients were impressed with efficiency and creativity, and employees were motivated to contribute at their highest potential. One afternoon, Lena came to Maya with another idea. Ms. Maya, if we apply the same collaborative system to research, development, and client services, we can improve efficiency company-wide. The teams are ready and they trust the process. Maya smiled. Do it. Empower the teams, monitor progress, and adjust as necessary. This is exactly the type of initiative that drives long-term success. As Lena left, Maya reflected on the transformation. She had not only corrected inefficiencies but had also empowered employees to lead, innovate, and thrive. The company's culture had changed fundamentally. People felt valued, motivated, and capable of achieving extraordinary results. By the end of the year, the company had exceeded every expectation. Productivity, efficiency, innovation, and morale were at record levels. Maya had not only rebuilt the organization but had proven a vital lesson. Human insight, courage, and decisiveness could create extraordinary results when combined with technology and strategy. The employees celebrated their achievements, acknowledging the positive change. Maya addressed them with gratitude. This success is yours. You have proven that when humans are trusted, empowered, and guided, we can achieve remarkable things. Continue to innovate, collaborate, and support one another. This is only the beginning.